Everyone inside the luxury restaurant froze when the head hostess tore up a black woman's reservation and yelled for her to leave. But what she didn't know, what no one knew, was that the woman she just insulted wasn't just any guest. And within seconds, the real boss walked in, ready to end her career on the spot. Those were the first words that sliced through the buzzing noise inside Aurelius, the most luxurious, high-end restaurant in the entire city. Moments earlier, the lobby had been alive with soft conversation, the clinking of glasses, and the gentle hum of music drifting from the dining hall. But now everything froze. Every waiter stopped mid-step. Every guest turned their head. Even the whispers died in their throats. At the center of all this attention stood Maya Carter, a poised, elegant black woman in a deep emerald dress that flowed gracefully around her. Her posture was calm, her expression steady, one hand holding her phone with quiet confidence. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't argue. She simply stood her ground with grace. Across from her, the head hostess Becky stood stiff and furious, irritation burning in her eyes like wildfire. Becky was known by the staff for her attitude, but today, she took it to a whole new level. "You don't have a reservation here," Becky hissed, voice sharp enough to cut glass. "So you need to leave. Now." Maya didn't flinch. "I made the reservation 3 weeks ago," she said calmly. "Under Carter. A private table." Her tone wasn't confrontational. It was simply factual. But that seemed to irritate Becky even more. "Oh, I see what's going on," Becky snapped, rolling her eyes dramatically. With an exaggerated motion, she snatched a printed reservation slip from the counter. "You think you can just walk in here and—" Without another word, she tore the reservation in half, the loud rip echoing through the silent lobby like a slap. Gasps erupted instantly that a couple near the entrance covered their mouths, that a waiter froze with a tray in hand. Someone whispered, "Did she really just do that?" But Maya didn't break. She blinked slowly, her composure unshaken, her voice soft but firm. "You didn't need to do that." "Oh, I did," Becky shot back, stepping closer. Her tone dripped with venom. "Because people like you." She stopped, but she didn't have to finish her sentence. The meaning hung in the air, heavy, ugly, undeniable. Every person in the room felt the disgust behind her words. Every person knew exactly what she meant, even if she didn't dare say it out loud. And in that moment, it became painfully clear Becky hadn't just been rude. She had crossed a line so bold, so obvious, that there was no coming back from it. And everyone knew it. The restaurant lobby buzzed like a disturbed beehive. Conversations that once floated gently through the air now turned into sharp, shocked murmurs. The tension was thick enough to feel. A couple near the bar slowly lifted their phones, not wanting to miss whatever explosive moment was about to unfold. A man in a blue suit leaned closer to his date and whispered, "This is going too far," his eyes wide with disbelief. Meanwhile, Becky, arms crossed, chin lifted, wore a smirk that said she believed she ruled the entire building. She stood tall, confident, almost proud of her behavior, as if she truly believed she was untouchable. "You're embarrassing yourself," she said loudly to Maya, her voice dripping with condescension. "Just walk out before security escorts you." Her words weren't just rude. They were meant to humiliate. Maya inhaled slowly, steadying herself. "Becky, right?" she said gently. "I'm not here to fight. I'm here for a peaceful dinner. Is the manager available?" Becky scoffed so loudly that several guests actually flinched. "The manager trusts my judgment," she declared. "And my judgment says you don't belong here." The silence that followed was ice cold, but Maya remained calm. Her expression didn't shift, not even a twitch. Only one perfectly raised eyebrow hinted at her thoughts, and it spoke louder than any argument. That eyebrow said, "You have no idea what you're doing." That a tall man standing by the bar rubbed his forehead. "Why is she acting like she owns the place?" he muttered. The tension was reaching its breaking point, and then it happened that a voice from the back of the lobby cut through the chaos. Clear, controlled, powerful. "She doesn't." Every head snapped in the direction of the voice. The room fell absolutely silent. Walking forward with steady, confident steps was a well-dressed man with salt and pepper hair, crisp suit, and an expression that carried the authority of someone far above the average manager. Two senior managers followed closely behind him, nervous and stiff, But he wasn't the manager. No, he was Daniel Rhodes, the billionaire owner of Aurelius, the mastermind behind the restaurant empire, and the last person Becky expected to see. And he had arrived at the exact moment her power trip reached its peak. His eyes didn't go to Becky first. They went straight to the torn reservation slip, still fluttering toward the floor. A silent witness to everything she had done. The meaning was clear. He had seen it all. Every word, every insult, every deliberate act of disrespect. And the entire room knew. Becky's smirk was about to disappear forever. Becky's face drained of every ounce of color, as if someone had pulled the ground out from beneath her feet. The confidence she flaunted just moments ago vanished instantly. Mr. Rhodes. I didn't know you were here, she stammered, suddenly unable to hold eye contact. But Daniel didn't look at her. Not even once. His gaze was fixed entirely on Maya. Steady, warm, and full of respect. And in that tiny moment, the entire room felt the shift in power. Ms. Carter, he greeted, his tone rich with familiarity. You're early. I'm glad you're here. You could have heard a pin drop. Maya gave him a polite nod, but she didn't need to speak. Her calm presence alone carried more weight than Becky's shouting ever could. Becky's jaw dropped, so wide it looked like it might hit the floor. You know her? She choked out, her voice trembling between fear and disbelief. Daniel offered a small smile. Not mocking, not dramatic, just honest. She's the reason we're redesigning the entire hospitality program, he explained clearly. She's our corporate consultant and the guest of honor tonight. The words spread through the room like a shockwave. Gasps, whispers, eyes widening everywhere. It was the kind of twist people only saw in movies, and they were witnessing it live. Becky stumbled back a step. She didn't tell me, she protested, grasping desperately for anything that could save her. But Maya's voice came out calm, almost gentle. I didn't need to, she said. Every guest deserves respect, whether you know who they are or not. A few guests nodded instinctively. Even some staff quietly murmured in agreement. Then Daniel turned to Becky, and this time, his voice wasn't warm. It was firm, controlled, final. Becky, we've had complaints about your behavior for months. And now you've humiliated a guest, destroyed a reservation, and nearly started a public scene in my restaurant. Becky's lips quivered. Please, sir. I didn't mean. Daniel raised a hand, stopping her mid-sentence. You meant exactly what you did, he said sharply. And we're done pretending otherwise. Hand over your badge. A wave of stunned silence swept through the lobby. Becky stared at him in horror, her hands trembling as she slowly reached for her hostess pin. The room watched, breathless, as she placed it into his open palm. You're firing me? She whispered, voice cracking. No, Daniel replied, voice cold as marble. I'm ending your career at Aurelius permanently. A final verdict, a final humiliation, and a consequence she had brought entirely upon herself. Becky stormed out of the lobby with stiff, furious steps, her cheeks burning a deep, painful red. The confidence she once flaunted had crumbled into humiliation. Guests instinctively stepped aside, parting like water around a sinking ship. No one wanted to make eye contact. No one wanted to be associated with the woman whose career had just collapsed in front of everyone. The heavy doors swung shut behind her with a loud thud of final, echoing full stop to her reign of arrogance. As the sound faded, Daniel turned back to Maya, his expression softening instantly. The authority in his eyes transformed into something completely different, genuine regret. I'm truly sorry for what you experienced, he said, voice steady yet sincere. No guest should ever be treated that way. Maya nodded, but her face showed no bitterness, only quiet wisdom. It's not just about me, she replied gently. It's about how anyone could be treated when they think no one's watching. Those words sank deep. You could almost feel them settle into the hearts of everyone listening. A few guests lowered their eyes in thought. A waiter near the bar swallowed hard, realizing how many times he'd seen bad behavior go unchecked. Daniel's managers hurried forward, clearly shaken by what had unfolded. We'll ensure this never happens again, one promised, hand pressed over his chest as if making a vow. But before they spiraled into defensiveness, Maya lifted a calm hand, stopping them, never harsh. Respect isn't based on appearance or assumptions. It should be automatic. Let this be a reminder for everyone. she said, her voice warm and steady, strong. But her message cut deeper than any punishment could. That it wasn't anger, it wasn't revenge. It was a lesson. A woman in a blue dress near the entrance was the first to respond. She began clapping softly, admiration shining in her eyes. Then a man near the bar joined. Then a waiter. Then a couple. And within seconds, the entire lobby filled with applause, loud, genuine, and full of support. But applause for the truth that had been spoken. Daniel smiled, relieved, grateful, and maybe even a little proud. "Shall we show you to your table, Miss Carter? It's the best seat in the house." Maya chuckled gently. "I didn't come for special treatment. I just came for a meal." Daniel nodded. "And you'll get exactly what every guest deserves. Excellence." With that, he personally guided her toward the dining hall. A simple gesture that carried a powerful message. Respect is not optional. Not applause for the drama that had unfolded. It's the standard. Always. As Maya followed Daniel toward her table, the atmosphere in Aurelia's felt completely transformed. The staff, who had watched everything unfold with wide eyes, now whispered to each other with admiration. It wasn't just the dramatic twist that left them in awe. It was the way Maya carried herself. Calm, steady, dignified, even after such humiliation. A young hostess, barely in her early 20s and clearly new to the job, hurried over with hesitant steps. She had been asked to take over Becky's position for the night. Her hands trembled slightly as she approached Maya, but her eyes were filled with sincerity. "Ms. Carter, thank you," she said quietly, almost afraid to speak too loudly. "People like her made this job hard." Maya paused, turning to face her fully. With a warm smile that felt like a reassuring hug, she said, "Treat every guest with dignity, and you'll never go wrong." The young hostess nodded, her shoulders relaxing as if Maya's words had lifted a weight she didn't even realize she'd been carrying. To her, this wasn't just advice. It was permission to be the kind of employee she wanted to be. As Maya continued toward her table, the restaurant buzzed with a new energy, one not fueled by gossip or scandal, but by respect. Conversations weren't whispers of "did you see that?" anymore. Instead, they were murmurs of admiration. She handled that beautifully. She stayed calm through everything. That's real class. Even the waiters stood a little straighter, as if inspired by the example she had set. Throughout the evening, Daniel checked in personally, not once, but several times. Not because Maya demanded it, not because she was the guest of honor, but because he had learned something fundamental. True leadership isn't about power. It's about presence. It's about stepping in when it matters the most. He realized that protecting the dignity of his guests and his staff was far more important than any reservation, review, or reputation. And as for Maya, she finally settled into the soft velvet chair at her private table. The flicker of candlelight reflected softly off her emerald dress, casting her in a serene glow. She enjoyed her dinner slowly, savoring each bite, each moment, as if nothing in the world could shake her peace, because nothing could die in that quiet, elegant moment. She proved something far greater than revenge. Grace is stronger than arrogance. Kindness is louder than cruelty. And sometimes, the strongest victory is the one spoken with quiet dignity. If you enjoyed this story, smash that like button, subscribe for more twists and lessons, and ring the notification bell so you're first to see the next one. Thanks for watching. And remember, respect costs nothing.